Okay, traders, we're finally here. The section I think most people have been waiting for, even though hopefully you've been pleasantly surprised on the way that actually, wow, got 100 times more than I ever thought I would be getting anyway, you know, with the dashboard and the hours I spent on the deep institutional analysis of all the pieces of the dashboard. And just when you thought it was over, I'm now going to show you where you can get literally the best research on the street, institutional grade research, which people think I spend thousands of dollars on. I'm going to show you how you can get it for free. So, you know, if you already thought you've got 10 times your return on the course, I'm now going to make it 1,000,000 times, right? And I don't think anyone can deny that. Hopefully you see it that way. You know, with the Pro Foundation, I'm giving you all those tools for free, which you know, Dome costs a lot of money to buy, footprint, and then all the material and all of that. So obviously, I like to do the same with this fundamentals course. I appreciate you've spent your hard-earned money on this course. I really appreciate it. So, you know, as a bonus, I'm happy to help you anyway. And it's quite funny because a lot of people think I spend a lot of money on this analysis, or they need to spend a lot of money. You know, like I've said many times about institutional Sundays that I do sometimes on YouTube, and you know, I don't know if I'll do that forever, but if you've ever watched it, watched by thousands of people, it's definitely the best fundamental analysis out there. You've seen a lot of people ask me about the graphs and where'd you get this from, and Envy, you must be spending thousands of dollars on this stuff, and because it is that good, and you know it is, if you've watched it, you know I'm getting the best information that no one can touch, right? In terms of obviously retail and people putting out information on YouTube and social media, you know, then, you know, if you think about what I'm showing is up here, it's not even close, right? And I'm going to show you that. So don't worry, I'm not just talking here. I'm building up towards it, you know, setting the scene. I think you know this yourself. The great thing, and I've got great news for you, I get it all for free, okay? We should all laugh at that because, you know, and that's my point is, I really hope you feel that it's money well spent buying this course, because that is what I want to give you, okay? The opportunity to access the exact same information I am. Same as with the Pro and Foundation course. I really do appreciate that you've spent your hard-earned money on you know, this knowledge, and obviously it works two ways. I want to try and deliver, and I want to meet that times 1,000,000, like I said. So let me show you, okay, how you can get all this stuff for free. Before I do that, basically you do need to take a step back, okay? Even though I'm happy to show you, no problem. Everything I will show you. What I'm getting, what I'm looking at when I do my weekly analysis videos, or any sort of fundamental analysis, even privately. I'm double checking things against obviously institutional research people. You remember in part 1 I talked about the investment bank trading floor, and you remember there were research people in the top left hand corner on the trading floor I worked in. Obviously different trading floors will have different layouts, but if you remember, in the top left hand corner there was research people. Okay, let's be honest, even though I said, you know, had a bit of a laugh and said they fall asleep, and because it can be quite boring, and traders sometimes don't care and can be quite brash about getting overloaded with too much analysis. Let's be honest though, these people are the cream of the crop when it comes to fundamental analysis, okay? When it comes to trading, obviously slightly different, but in terms of pure fundamental analysis, these are the best in the business, okay? So I'm going to show you how you can get your hands on that level grade of information for free, okay? I guess it isn't free because you've obviously paid to do this course, and I appreciate that, but you know, hopefully this will show you that I'm paying you back 1,000,000-fold, okay? So let's get on with it. What I was saying right just there is that be careful, okay? Take a step back, because what you're going to notice is, you know, and it's funny, and I think you're already noticing it, because fundamental analysis is so dynamic, it's changing all the time, and so are markets. Me doing analysis with you is not going to help you that much, okay? And I think you're realizing that, hopefully you are. What's really will help you, and it's the same with this research, okay? So let's say And I'm going to give that to you now, all the incredible research reports from some of the best institutions and guys out there. It's incredible. Okay, it really is good stuff. So institutional research. Okay, and I know many people who pay thousands of dollars for this level of research. And not to sound or repeat myself, but hopefully it's exciting for you to hear this. You're going to be getting this free. Okay, never spend a penny on fundamental research. Don't do it. Okay, you don't need to do it, and I'm going to show you that. However, this stuff, okay, is useless to you unless you have mastered what is in it, right? I've been there. When I stepped into an investment bank on my first few weeks, I used to read these research reports from, like I said, those people in the top left-hand corner here, the row of desks over here. Remember, I said it was research, and I said traders are sitting here and sales is here, and then you've got obviously the outside community over there, in the part one, the first intro section. When I used to sit and read, whether I was over here or over here, I used to go over and I used to get these research reports and I used to read them. I was so lost. I didn't have a clue what was going on. And the problem you will have, get the research reports, I'll show you where to find them, save them, whatever you want to do, get the links and keep them ready. And I could be wrong, but my suspicion is if you're like me, when you start reading this research that I'm going to show you, the stuff that I read all the time, you're going to be completely lost unless you've done part one properly, you've done the 6-month business plan, as in you've gone through part two, you've got your deep understanding. So basically this, right? Step one is the dashboard. Okay, so custom dashboard with all the data laid out, not overwhelming yourself, having an institutional map of how to read fundamentals. And we've been through this a million times. You now need to know off the back of your head, week one, what? Manufacturing services, payrolls, the major items that most traders will be looking at, because that will obviously have a big bearing on the direction of not only economic growth, but policy. Right? And we talked about this many times. The Fed is the market. So obviously very, very important that week 2, week 3, and and I'm not going to lay it out here, but how it all goes, in terms of obviously inflation data, retail sales data, FOMC and GDP towards the end of the quarter and all of that stuff, right? Laid out. So, you need to know what is important. Okay. Unless you know that, you can have the best research in the world. I can do some analysis. It's not going to make any sense to you, right? So that is like a big chunk. I would say this is like 50%, okay, of where your focus should be. Then step 2, okay, well, I was going to say you could even 45 to 50, all right, because step 2 is just as important. So deep understanding. And I gave such a long lecture about this, that don't jump ahead. If you really want to be good at this, it's not going to happen overnight. Don't fight that, right? If you do, you're the only person that's going to lose. So spend time doing deep understanding for months. Keep going over, obviously, all the stuff I've talked about, hours and hours, right, on these main core items. I haven't just done what most people, I haven't just talked for hours about 100 different things. I've been very succinct, like a professional is, focused on what matters and ignored what doesn't matter. Okay, we're here to worry about the things that are driving the market and not worry about things that we may have heard on social media think drive the market, because we already know all of that is just, it's complete nonsense. So my point is, develop a deep understanding of what is important. So the things on the dashboard, right? And it's hardly anything. What was it, about 6-7 items? But that takes time. So that's 45 to 50%. All right. So 45 and 45, let's take those two together. So if you think about, and you may or may not have done the Pro or Foundation course, but if you remember how I had the hierarchy, and how much percentage things are, it's completely lopsided in this. I mean, literally, you know, it's like, if I could draw it like that, the analysis is literally that. Okay, this step, part 1, part 2, before we've even got to research or analysis. Okay, so forgetting any analysis, it's this stuff. Okay, because the reason I'm saying this is I'm telling you this from experience. Once I got knuckled down with this and this, so let me just change the color. And this is very important, I tell you this. I know you might be wondering, Envy, just tell me where you get the reports from. No, I need to tell you this because I don't want you to make that fatal mistake of just reading all this stuff and then you'll be so overwhelmed because you haven't actually spent the time to understand the FOMC, to understand payrolls, to understand the circular flow properly. Once you've developed these two, okay, which is this section, I promise you, when you read institutional research, it's just, you're gonna laugh how easy you find it to understand. Okay, so hopefully that makes it very clear. This is absolutely crucial. And terrible drawing, but hopefully you get the point. This is everything. Again, the research is here. Okay, this part, institutional research, any analysis that I end up doing with you, you know, it's not that. I can't really give you much in the analysis. The analysis is, it's an interpretation, right? I can't just, do you see what I mean? When you read the institutional research, you should kind of already have your own view on stuff. How do you get that? Because you look at your dashboard, right? You look at your deep understanding of the things on the dashboard. So when you come into the end of the week and you open up these research reports, you kind of already know what you're thinking. The research reports will just confirm that nicely for you, maybe give you a couple things you hadn't thought of. There will obviously be some things, and we'll talk about that. The institutional research will get quite deep with stuff. Obviously, like I said, you have these departments, research departments, you know, they dedicate their whole week, sometimes 80 hours, 100 hours. I told you they were falling asleep when I used to be in banking. Walk over there seeing some of my poor colleagues when I'd be going off having a drink or something, or on a Friday, they'd all be falling asleep, right? But the point is, they're putting so many hours in, so obviously there is going to be stuff in the research reports that, you know, we don't have time to do that. So there will be a couple of gems you'll be able to pick out, but every week it's going to be different. But the point is, unless you've done this, you're not going to be able to pick those gems out, okay? You're not going to be able to do the research. So I cannot stress this enough, okay? With this, it's slightly different to traditional, how people think of trading and approaching trading. You know, you really need to understand the dashboard and have the deep understanding, which I've done in the majority of part 2. Otherwise, the analysis is going to be completely useless for you. So look, we'll get on with it. A lecture is over. Again, I'm happy to show you, but you know, I care about your progress. That's why I do all these long speeches, because I don't want you to just jump into it. Make sure you do these bits first, okay? Because without it, I just cannot stress it enough. Any analysis that I might do with you, I'm not going to spend that much time, because you can see this is the stuff that you need to know, and you can see that anyway because you've been through hopefully part 1, part 2 before you come here. We'll go through, obviously I'll show you where to get the research reports. If you feel a little bit overwhelmed, you know, make sure you go back, do this. Just try not to do this stuff, what I'm going to show you now, until you finish this. Okay, it's completely pointless. I don't care if I've said it 10 times, I'll say it 11 times, 50 times. It is completely pointless you looking at this institutional analysis if you haven't done this, because it isn't going to make any sense to you. Okay, once you've done this a few times, I promise you, you'll be better than some of the best research out there. That's where the value in this fundamentals course is. Obviously, I know a lot of you are really desperate to get this institutional research, and I'm going to give you that now, so of course I'm happy to do that. But all I'm saying is take it in steps, right? Do it properly. Hopefully you learn that in your trading journey. You can't rush these things. You know, spend 6 months, 9 months, 12 months doing that. Then come to this, plenty of time. Okay, enough said on that. Let me now get on with it. So look, exciting stuff, right? I don't pay for any research. Okay, and I don't want you to pay for any research. Complete waste of money. You're gonna laugh when I show you how I get this. I'm being a little bit clever, but unless I show you this, you will hopefully it's the case that most of you would never have got this, because obviously if you had, then there's not much value in me showing you this. But I think the majority of you probably wouldn't have got this unless I show you this. So but that's fine. That's what we're here to do, and obviously like I said, that's what you've paid for in this course. So what I do, you might have already I think I mentioned this in the FOMC section, that I do some clever little hacks, Google searches. So this is what I do basically, and I've got some of them written down. I'm very over the years, I'll mix it up a little bit, so I might not, obviously, I hope you appreciate, I might not remember all the Google searches I do, but I'll make sure that every single research piece that I am looking at this moment in time, so it's 2022, I'm going to make sure that I highlight that for you. But it doesn't matter. You just need to know the search terms that I'm using, because even if you're looking at this in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years time, it could be, and I keep saying this, but 2025, 26, 27, you're going to find whatever's relevant at that time. So don't worry, it's irrelevant. But I'll obviously highlight you. I'm happy to do that. Tell you everything, and I'll make sure. It might be something like 30, 40 things I'm looking at. It's a lot. But I'll make sure you get every single one. Okay, even stuff that I'm not able to search for and I might have found a long time ago and I'm not able to find it in a search, I'll make sure you have it. Okay, so I've got some of them written down. I've written them down before, some of the searches I like to do. So I'll make sure with something like this, obviously I don't want to just do it off my memory, because I want to make sure you get all the best search terms. So the first one that I'm doing is, so I want you to, what you need to do, okay, so this is what I search for: US Economic Outlook PDF. Okay, the PDF's quite interesting, because what happens is that research department that I talked about in the top left, at the investment bank I was working at over here, the research department, and obviously there was trading and sales and so on, as I mentioned to you. When they used to produce research, which I would send over to hedge funds, central banks, real money firms, and big clients, it was in PDF format. Okay, always sent in PDF format, and that's where I got this idea from. That let me be clever and see if some of these guys, some of their links are available on Google. So one thing I want to mention to you, if you don't mind, be careful, please. With this stuff. Because you can see here, some of them may be, and don't get me wrong, I'm just speculating here, but I suspect a lot of them don't know that their stuff is visible on Google through these searches, where you type PDF and stuff like that. So, you can see here, can you see that? Outlook, Lazard. This is a fantastic research report. I don't actually look at this one, but you can if you want. But look, Outlook on the United States is fantastic, right? You can see where I get a lot of my graphs from. I don't have time to draw all of these, so obviously every week I'll look for the ones that I think are relevant. But look at that, fantastic, right? This is very, very high quality research, fundamental research, and it's free. It's unbelievable. But my point is, please be a little bit discreet about these things. Don't go around, and I'm sure you won't, don't go around shouting it out that, hey, I've got this research. As in particular, if you've got a question, I would, look, it's up to you what you do. I would at least suggest maybe don't go direct to them and say, hey, I managed to get a copy of your report. Can I ask you a question? It might be okay, but my guess is that a lot of them don't know that it's out there, and they may just cut the link, okay, which isn't good for you. It's not good for me, and I'm happy to show you this stuff. Obviously, I'm happy to be open, because like I said, I really appreciate that you've spent solid money for this, so I want to give it to you. But let's just be careful and discreet about these things. So I hope you don't mind me saying that. That's the only formality I wanted to get out of the way, and I'm sure you agree with me. We want access to this, so it's best not to shout about it too much. So that's one that I do. So what I do, right? This is really important. So there's another little hack, and it's very important, because if you search for US Economic Outlook PDF, what's going to happen is you're going to get stuff from old stuff, So a lot of this stuff is from like last year, and I'm not interested. I want to know fresh stuff that's being constantly reproduced. Would you agree? Because I don't want to do this search every week. Okay, I might do this search once I refresh the stuff I'm looking at and see if there's any new stuff out there. Maybe once every 6 months. Every week, when I come in, and I'm going to show you, it's quite funny actually. A lot of these guys, what they do is they'll use the same link and it will just automatically be refreshed for the newest week. And that is fantastic. So, but the point is, that's not going to help. It's not going to help me if I'm doing a Google search and I find stuff from a year ago. Do you see? That means these firms, these institutions, that means they're not updating that link. It's a dead link. So what I do, Donna, is a great way around this, okay? You go to tools, make sure past week, okay? I do past week and past month. Past week is fantastic. Do you see? It's so clever. I'm not saying I'm that clever, but I think it's quite a clever hack I found, because now I know that this was produced in the last week, which means what? Most likely this will be it's being produced every week. Do you see? So for example, Merrill, look at that. Literally the latest capital market outlook. And I would bet when I come back to this link, it's updated for the next week automatically, okay? Because it's quite, obviously they're updating it frequently. Now this is where I am. I'm actually here in the middle of February 2022. Like I said, for you it might be different. What I like to do is I will bookmark these. Okay, now you might be using a different browser, I don't know. You can bookmark them just by obviously clicking bookmark this tab. So bookmark them, okay? That's what I would do. And what I found when I go into some of these bookmarks, when I bookmark them, if I come back in a week, you see that February 14th, it will be updated to the next one, okay? And that I've only found that with stuff that's, being updated regularly. And the only way I can be certain of that is by looking at, and I'm interested in the recent stuff, right? I don't care about research reports from a year ago. It's useless to me. Many reasons why this is the amazing hack. I think it's the most fantastic hack. Okay, so that's what you do. All right, so what I'm going to do, I like this one, Merrill. Fantastic, okay. All stuff, look, Fed, market view, thought of the week, geopolitical tensions, wage inflation. It's fantastic, it's amazing. You can see, so this is the type of stuff, obviously I worked at Barclays. Merrill will have their own research department in that the one in the top corner I talked about over here. Okay, this is what they'll produce, research. Sorry, I spelled that wrong, research. Okay, they'll send it out to traders, salespeople, and then the salespeople will distribute it outside the firm to all their customers, like hedge funds, money managers, real money firms, even central banks, if they've got central bank desks as for customers. It's just brilliant, isn't it? Look, it's just amazing. Very, very high level. Right? It's the best research, and it's free. It's unbelievable. It's free. It's probably one of the best kind of discoveries I've ever made since I left. When I was in the bank, I used to get sent all this stuff all the time. Obviously, since I've left investment banking many years ago, it's more difficult, even for me, to get my hands on this stuff. But thankfully, I'm able to get it. So what I would suggest, right, is stuff that, and you're welcome to look at different stuff. What I would suggest is bookmark it. So I'm going to put it here, okay, because I'm not going to bookmark it, because obviously there's different ways of bookmarking. So what I'm going to put is, I think this is the weekly outlook, okay. Okay, so however you want to do this, you can put it in a Word document or, okay. So that's one that I will get every week. So I've got the link there. I can either go through the Word doc or save it as a bookmark if you want. It's fantastic, right? And sometimes I'll print them off. It's just, I don't know what to say. It just speaks for itself. It's unbelievable. Do you see this stuff? It's the same stuff we've been doing in part 1 and part 2, okay? Exactly the same stuff. Look, ISM, non-manufacturing survey appears likely to surprise to the downside, blah, 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 blah. Labor costs and all the stuff we've been talking about, it's here. Can you see why it's so important you spend 99% of your time on that? This analysis, that's why this course is slightly different. You know, like with a trading course, like with Pro and Foundation, obviously I'm like, hey, let me show you how to trade or how to apply this stuff and how to, you know, this is completely different. It's the other way around. I need to show you how to understand the stuff, right? And the analysis is something that will come naturally afterwards. The most important thing is actually understanding what on earth are they talking about. This is the analysis here, right? You're going to get the best analysis, better than even probably, you know, I could give you. And, you know, maybe I'm being unfair of myself. I know people value my Institutional Sunday analysis very, very highly. And yeah, I have over the years, by reading a lot of this stuff and doing, obviously, the stuff in parts 1 and 2, being able to understand this stuff to a very, very high level. And I probably can do it just as well as these guys. But like I said, I want to be fair. I'm a trader. These guys are doing research all week. They're spending 80, 100 hours doing research. I don't have the time to go into this much depth. So even I find value here. So this is the best analysis you're going to get. Okay, even better than what I can give you. This is like the tip of the iceberg that you want to reach. And I keep saying it. Make sure you do all the other stuff. Otherwise, it's going to make no sense to you. Okay, so Merrill Lynch. We'll quickly go through them now. Northern Trust. I've never looked at this one. See, you'll be able to find some gems that you might like. Look, view PDF version. They love sending out these. These are all for clients. Okay, they'll send these out for clients. So if you want that, Northern Trust, look at it. I don't really look at Northern Trust. It's up to you. Okay, whatever you find that you think is useful, look at it. And I'm just looking at the stuff that I look at. I'm gonna make sure, like I said, I'm gonna make sure you get everything that I'm looking at. I do like Moody's. Okay, weekly market outlook. I think it's really good. If you go down, look, US jobs report. Look at this. It's phenomenal, isn't it? It's just got everything you need. It's there, right there. Like literally the highest grade. The week ahead, it's all there. Right, so hopefully you find this very, very useful. I certainly do. This is the stuff I am looking at in my Institutional Sundays. So Moody's. Like I said, I'm going to repeat the point. You know, be discreet about this stuff. Like, I really don't know if they're even aware that this stuff is out there. So be a little bit discreet about it, because obviously we don't want them to take it down. And, you know, don't go around shouting about it and asking them a million questions. If you've got a question, obviously, you know, you can send us an email if you've got a question, or obviously, to be honest, a lot of it will make sense to you now because you've covered all of this. Look, CPI, it's all the stuff we've been covering, okay? Rates and jobs report, this is all the stuff, okay? Do you see? This is what is important. That's why even the very best out there doing fundamental research are looking at the same stuff that I mentioned to you in terms of the hierarchy, jobs report, FOMC. This is the main stuff they'll be spending all their time on, okay? So that's a fantastic one. I do like Moody's, so I've made a note on there. I look at that quite frequently. Look, again, I want to say this right now. Some of this stuff, if you're looking at this in 1 year, 2 years, I hope you appreciate it. It might not be there. But there'll be something else just as good in its place, okay? If it's not Merrill Lynch, it'll be someone else, okay? There will always be something out there, all right? I'm just showing you what I'm looking at the moment. JP Morgan, very, very good economic update. I'm not sure if I've never seen this one. This is a new one, actually. I might start looking at this one. Let me just make a note of this. I actually like this. I've not seen this one before. This might be a new one. You see, that's fantastic. Growth, jobs, profits, inflation, rates. Pretty much the stuff we've covered in part 2, okay? Don't want to sound, you know, like a parrot and keep repeating this, but hopefully you're seeing this yourself. Why I kept banging on about this for hours and hours. This is the stuff you need to follow, right? Jobs, economic growth, GDP, rates. Do you see a million indicators like most people look at it? No, waste of time. Okay, this is the stuff you need to follow. And once you understand it, you'll come here, you'll just be laughing. When you read all this stuff, it'll make so much sense to you because you put in the time in the other 95% you need to be looking at that I mentioned. 90 to 95% at the start of this. So I like this one. This one's really good. It's quite nice, isn't it? It's really compact. Look, straight away, inflation just tells you. And the thing is, you don't have to agree with this. All right, this is their opinion. JP Morgan is obviously one of the biggest and the best. You don't have to agree with it. But the point is, can you imagine how valuable it is to have access to this information? And it is just, it still blows my mind. And I hope it is completely blowing it away. That it's free. It's crazy, right? I keep repeating it. Do not spend money on fundamental research. A penny. You don't need it. People will always offer you stuff. Hey, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 for my fundamental research service. You know, Reuters, Bloomberg, they're charging so much money. Completely silly. You don't need to do that, okay? There's a few others here. I'll leave these to you. So because I'm just giving you examples. When you come to do the search, the page might be populated with completely different things to what I'm looking at, okay? And you don't have to look at the same institutions I do. All right. If you don't want to look at Moody's, Merrill, JP, you can look at National Bank here. They've got some, they've got some good stuff here. BBVA, research, fantastic. They've got so much stuff, okay? I'm just looking at my list. I don't really look at that at the moment because it becomes too overwhelming for me, right? Obviously, I don't mind having 20, 30 sources. I don't want to have 100, right? I won't have a weekend. I won't be able to sleep, right? I need to cut it down. So I try to just look at stuff that I think is there is a Barclays one, but I don't actually look at that because I'll let you look at that in your own time if it's still there when you do this Google search, but it's not great, okay? In fact, I'll show you. It's not great. Do you see it's quite short? I don't really like it, and it's very global focused. I like to obviously look at S&P and particular things. If you're looking in the US, you see it's just US, Euro, UK. It's got like 3 lines for each. I don't really like it. I have spotted it before, but I don't like that one. There's one here from Morgan Stanley, 2022 Outlook. It's quite good, right? I don't necessarily look at that. It seems a bit too global for me. Do you see they're talking about decarbonization? That's pretty good. Transformation of the US labor market. But yeah, no, I'm not something. I want stuff that's going to be repeated every week that I can just tick. Like I said, I don't want to be doing this search all the time. I just want stuff that I think will be repeated. Haven't seen this one before. Westpac, that might be quite good actually. Haven't got that on my list. Haven't actually done this search for 6 or 7 months. So actually it's quite good to do this with you. Yeah, that one doesn't seem to be opening. This one, Westpac. We'll give it a second. If it doesn't open, then obviously we'll move on. Let's try a different one. Raymond James. That is quite good, but that might be Canada, CA. Not sure about this one. I do like Raymond James. I look at a lot of Raymond James stuff. Okay, so actually this one's quite good. I don't know how often it's updated. It seems alright, so maybe we can stick that one down. I do like Raymond James. Okay, they do some, and I'm gonna show you. I actually look at quite a bit of the stuff that they do, and you might recognize some of their stuff on my Institutional Sundays. But yeah, I like the stuff they do. It's really, really good. So we'll make that one. Note of that one. Yeah, that one doesn't seem to be working. Is what it is. Could just be a link that they've taken down or something, but it doesn't really happen that often, them taking stuff down. Macro Insights, BlackRock is fantastic. You can have a look at them, but I don't actually look at them. Actually, I've got that noted down. Actually, I do. Yeah, that one's pretty good, but it's quite short. Okay, I don't actually look at this one. There is a different one. Okay, but you can have a look at that one if you want. ING, you can see I've looked at this before, but I don't actually look at that one either. I don't think I do, or do I? Yeah, I do. Actually, I do. What I like in this one is macro, and then because I focus on North America, again, I don't know what you look at. UK is fantastic for all of them. You can see I like this one. I find this really, really useful. what to expect at the Fed meeting, right? What to expect from this meeting? How fast can the Fed go? And you see, it's very focused. This guy's good, James Knightley. Obviously, again, I don't know when you search for this whether he'll even be working there, but very, very good. I do like this. For economic research, okay? So be careful, because some of this stuff will be much better for, obviously, economic research, ING. So I like to look at stuff in terms of strategy. You see, when you have a weekly in terms of strategy, it's a very grey line. You can see that. Some of it will be, and I said that to you when I said about where I was working at Barclays and we had the research department. I think I did tell you that some of it was economics, and they split it out into economics and strategy. Okay, sorry, I know that's very bad handwriting, but this is, if you notice, when you read these research reports, there'll be a lot of economic fundamentals, but there'll also be strategy, right, in terms of where they think things are going to go, and they'll talk a little bit about markets. It can be a nice combination. I like the weekly outlooks because they talk a little bit more about strategy, and you're going to see that. Pure economic, sometimes I like to look at, because if I'm looking at the jobs report, I don't want it to be mixed up, okay? I want the details, and therefore I want to see it from a pure economist perspective. So I have about 2 or 3 places that I like to go for economics, so I can just understand jobs report and stuff very deep. Where people do strategy, and I'm going to show you that, they don't really go deep into the reports. They're talking more about how it might reflect on markets, and that's more the strategy side of fundamentals. So I like to look at both. The outlooks, the weekly outlooks, the clue's in the name, outlook. They're looking at how it might impact markets, the outlook. The pure economics research is looking more at drilling down into a lot of the detail. You know, when we've done the CPI section, do you remember there were all the little details, and even the labour market, there's all the little details. That's what the pure economics does. So I do like to look at 2 or 3 sources of deep economics that will break it down. And then the majority of the stuff I like to look at outlooks. Hopefully that's clear. So I do like to separate those out. So that's more economics. Okay, so I've got that ING. Let's have a look at a few more. Go as deep as you can. You know, that's where the greatest benefit is. You see, I'm on page 3, page 4. Go as far as you can, right? Keep going. Some of the most best gems, hidden gems, are much further down. So you can see that. We'll keep going. See, IEA is there. I like this. T. Rowe Price, actually. I do like their stuff. Nice little snappy weekly. Okay. Weekly update. US inflation hits, blah, blah, blah. Investors pricing 0.5 point. Rate increase in March. All right. It's even got some stuff in Europe. This is a really good one. I do look at this one a lot. Takes me like a quick 5-minute read. Very, very good. So that's that one. Alright, so we can put that down. Hopefully you can see, you do not need to spend money on this, right? This stuff is top quality stuff, all of this. You know, Merrill's, Moody's, JP, Raymond James, T. Rowe Price, you're getting some ING, you're getting some, you know, some serious institutional analysis. I do like that one, so that one's very, very good. But you see it's on page 5, so obviously keep going. Sometimes there'll be some of them, you know, a lot. I'm not even looking at these. Some of these might be useful. Obviously, you take your time, all right? Click on all of them, go in, investment outlook. PIMCO's great, obviously one of the biggest funds out there. Go into that. Daily FX, I don't really look at. All right, so that's a great one. US Economic Outlook PDF. The next one we're going to try together is, which seems to yield me a great return in terms of research, is this one. Okay, US Equity Market Outlook PDF. Past week, make sure you do the past week. If you don't, right, you're just going to get all sorts of stuff that's outdated, and institutions are not updating. You want the stuff that's being updated. You can see I've clicked on loads of stuff here very recently. So Capital Market Outlook, we've already got that. We've got that one. Morgan Stanley. See, the top 3 we've already got. Do we have Morgan Stanley? No, we don't. See, I've seen this one. I don't actually like this one because it's an audio and it's very short. Do you see? It's just thoughts on the market. They're good. I mean, obviously have a look at them. Fine. If you want maybe some longer term stuff, it's quite good. We can put that down. Do you see how you can split them out? Maybe longer term, right? I'm not normally this neat with my bookmarking, but obviously because I'm doing it with you, I'm going to try and be a little bit neat. So here we can put Morgan Stanley, okay? Here we'll put economics. And I know I might be covering some of this. No, I'm alright so far, but I might end up covering a little bit of it, but that's fine, okay? We'll scroll obviously up and down. So that's economics. Put that in red. That's longer term, put that in red. Let's call this strategy, right? Outlook, strategy stuff, like I said. Okay, strategy, economics, and longer term. Right, so we've got some great stuff here so far. I wouldn't really look at that type of stuff for my weekly analysis. Maybe just some general reading. Don't know about this stifle. I'm not going to bother. We can have a look if it works. Does it work? Investment strategy. Yeah, it's alright. It's just a lot of slides. So with this one, probably not so much. Might be some internal presentation they've done. I don't really want to look at that, but obviously you're welcome to. You can see I like this. Raymond James, I mentioned to you. Thoughts of the week. This is really good. I do like this stuff. Their stuff is fantastic. And at the moment, they're updating it regularly. So obviously, I don't know if that's the case when you look at it, but it's fantastic. You see, look, they've got some fantastic charts there. They've got some nice commentary as well, which is a good read. So you can read that. What else have we got? Raymond James, JP Morgan. I think we've already got that one, haven't we? Weekly market recap. Schwab market perspective. Very, very good. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's actually really good, isn't it? Charles Schwab, so we can put that one down. Right. You don't need to read all of these every week. Obviously, I like to. You don't need to do that. You can kind of find the ones that you think are decent and just read those, or you could be like me and just read all of them and then whatever, right? Whatever suits you. Don't be too overwhelmed. I'm just obviously showing you how. What I said to you, I promised, I don't want to hide anything from you guys. I want to be upfront and say, this is what I'm looking at. This is what you paid for. Hey, Envy, we're doing this fundamentals course with you because we want to know what you're looking at. So I have to tell you, right? So I'll tell you. You can try some of these related searches. I've never really bothered, but you can. Right, it's another good tip. Try some of these related searches if you want to really... I do like this. I really like this one. Edward Jones. It's fantastic. Weekly market wrap. Okay, you might see some of me talk about some of this stuff. I really, really like this. This is pure strategy. Very, very. It's not deep economics. Okay, it's not going into. Do you see global yields? The impact on markets in terms of literally talking about. So there is a little bit, but do you see? It's just very little. CPI and then just one graph, very little, few lines, but mainly it's this impact on the markets. What's the impact on the bond market? What's the impact on equity markets, valuations? Stuff you won't necessarily see from an economist. This is more like strategist stuff. So this is very, very good. I do like this. So let's put that down. Edward Jones. Okay, I might be covering some of this now, but don't worry about it, it's fine. Okay, that's probably enough, but I'm going to show you a lot more because I do look at a few other things as well. Maybe not a lot more, but there's a few others. So let's just keep going. You get the gist of it though. right? I'm only showing you this stuff because I'm telling you this is what I'm looking at the moment. It may not actually be there when you go to look at it, but it is something I look at. JH Investments, I do like this, but it doesn't get updated that often, but put it on there anyway because I am looking at it sometimes. If it gets updated, I don't know, this firm, whoever they are, they don't seem to update it as often. I've noticed they update a little bit late, couple days late, but again, that's for you to work out. JH Investments, okay, so they're a money management firm, you know, institutional level. I know I'm covering some of this, but don't worry about it, that's fine. Hopefully you're getting the gist of it, of what we're doing here. Again, don't worry if none of these come up when you're doing your search, because you'll have your own. You'll have, you know, if this stuff doesn't come up when you're searching, it's useless to you, because that means they've either cut the links or they've realized, oh my god, it's out there and whatever, and I've cut it, and or they're not updating it, or the person doing it has left, and you know, they've changed the formatting of it so it's no longer at the same link. It could be many reasons, right? Sometimes when a senior strategy person, whoever's doing this, the author, that you'll see when you go into the, obviously you'll see the author for all of them, that person might have left the firm. If someone new comes in, they might have a different format, they'll change the link, you know, so don't worry too much about what I've got here. I'm just showing you this because it's what I look at the moment, just as examples, and for the reasons I said before, that obviously people want to know what I'm looking at. GSAM, that's pretty good. Goldman Sachs, so that's quite a good one. Market Monitor, it's not that detailed, which is not a bad thing, because sometimes it's a nice little just quick inflation, labor, activity. This is so funny, isn't it? And it's not funny. Hopefully you're actually seeing, you're getting the, I mean, it's unbelievable. You're getting the best stuff, and hopefully you don't have to take my word for it anymore. What have I been talking to you about the entire fundamentals course and said is the most important stuff? Inflation, labor, FOMC, GDP. What do you see Goldman Sachs, one of the biggest institutions in the world, putting out on their reports? Inflation, labor, GDP, FOMC. Okay, that, cannot stress that enough. Okay, that is the stuff. Okay, that the biggest players in the world are looking at. Do you see? They're not bothered about all those. I've said it so many times throughout the course. They're not bothered about those and all the little things that everyone gets stuck in. This is the stuff you need to know. Okay, and hopefully this is really like, wow, right? I already knew Envy was right, but now I 100% know that he is on it. Guy knows what he's talking about. It's there, right? Okay, my point is, it's there. You don't need to. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant or show off. I'm saying it to give you confidence. So when you do fundamental research, you know, I haven't just taken Envy's word for it. Actually, I can see that. The very best institutions in the world, Goldman's and Morgan's and Merrill's and Moody's and JP's, they're all looking at the stuff that Envy has told us to focus on and not waste time on the other stuff. Those 6-7 things on the dashboard, bang, it's right here. Okay, so this is quite a good one. Goldman's, you can look at that. I don't know if they will update this. Obviously, like I said, the link may change. I'm not sure where they, because can you see it's, this one's slightly different. If you look at some of these links, the links where they haven't got the date probably will be updated quite regularly, because it's just a generic link that they update all the time. With this, can you see it says Market Monitor, and then it's got the date? That means that they might not update it so much, or they're changing the link all the time, so it might not be so easy to find that link. Okay, you can try stuff like just remove, you know, you can go to market strategy, but it might not work if we just do that. Do you see error? So sometimes I try to do that where I'll just remove the link to see if I can find the originating page, if that makes sense. So it was GSAM, wasn't it? Do you see it didn't like it? Is it Market Insights? There you go. It's Market Insights, Market Strategy. Do you see? It's a hidden page. So I don't know about this one. I've never come across this one before. I'm just finding this now. But it doesn't matter what it is you'll be able to do this research just as well as they do if you do what I tell you to do. That 90%. Build the dashboard, do all the stuff. What do I want you to get from this more than just worrying about, oh my God, I need to know what Goldman's are thinking? You don't. I just want you to know that this is what they're looking at as a firm. So it should give you confidence that focusing on these little things, just a few things, but becoming amazing at it, that's the power in seeing this. Okay, so don't worry if you can't see this again, because I haven't actually seen this one. It might have just popped up by accident or whatever in Google. I don't know, but it's really nice to be able to see those major items, so we know that the analysis we're doing is on the right path. Okay, you may actually sometimes just be a bit clever. Just search, look here, macro and market views. There you go, view market monitor. Yeah, there you go. So there you go. That's the link you want to take down. Okay, so that's the link I'm going to put. I'll start putting them at the top because obviously I'm blocking some of them. This won't always be the case. I've tried to find the main pages. You see, this is the main page for this. It won't always be the case. You won't always be able to find them. So I was actually surprised that I was able to find this one, especially some of the bigger institutions. I don't think they realize some of their stuff is out there. So they just have these odd links where it's just that particular week they've just got out there, they've indexed it. Maybe the guy's forgotten to switch off the indexing in Google, I don't know. So usually it's quite difficult to find them if they're the type of firms that only put out it to their clients and they don't actually have it in the public domain. It's quite difficult to find this type of main page. Again, I'll let you do that in your own time, but there you go, it is there. Let's keep going. There's the oil market report, but that's pretty straightforward. That's nothing secret or anything. Morning Star, I don't look at that, but you can. Obviously Reuters, Fidelity, Wells Fargo is quite good, I think. I'm not going to take this link. It's a daily one. I don't want to look at it. I don't really look at too much stuff daily in terms of this much detail. So yeah, I wouldn't really bother with that one, but you can. Like I said, you don't have to pick the same ones as me. This is quite good. Russell Investments Market Summary. It's pretty good, so you can take a note of that one. I don't actually have this on my list, but whatever. You know, like I said it before, you don't have to look at all of these. But I just want to show you how incredible the research is that you can get for free without having to pay for it. Never pay for this. Okay, I keep repeating that point, but don't. You know, I think a lot of people will be shocked when they see this, but the takeaway from it, don't pay for research. Okay, it's a waste of time. I do like Reuters, even though it's not a hidden thing, it's quite open. I really like Reuters. So I do like looking at it from my market. So that is, as you probably know, I like to look at it for stocks. And actually this markets, I do like this one, Reuters markets. Okay, so that's quite good. It's quite a mainstream one, but I find it very, very useful. Okay, so that one can be down here somewhere. Reuters.com. I find this one quite useful. I just make sure I've got all the ones that I actually look at. Okay, because like I said, I don't want anyone to feel that, hey, Envy's looking at some stuff that I need to see where is he getting all this stuff from? Must be some secret thing. I want to show you everything. Alright, so that's why I'm listing them all. Don't worry, I'm going to make sure, at least at this current moment. But I'm even showing you how, in the future, I will change that. I will come and do this search. And I'll just come and find stuff. This is what I do. I go through the list. Look at this, Wells Fargo strategy report. I don't know if that one's working. Yep, that one's good. I like this. I actually like this Wells Fargo for... so do you see, I actually do sometimes go back and I try and have a look at the kind of stuff they might have on the website to see if I can find anything. I do look at some Wells Fargo stuff, economics, Fed announcement, top news, market commentary. I like this, okay, Wells Fargo is quite good as well. They have quite a bit of economics. they actually have, so you know, it could be like a Fed announcement. Download the key takeaways. Yeah, fantastic. Some nice, do you see, this is what I mean by analysis. You're going to be able to find everything you need in terms of analysis in the list I'm showing you. But it won't make any sense to you unless you understand the FOMC. When you do and you've looked at a few statements, you look at this and you're just going to be laughing. Like, this is brilliant. Yep, got it. And it's nice to combine your thinking with what they're telling you. What do they think? Right? You no longer need to look at them like, oh my God, it's institutional research analysis. It's the best in the business and I don't understand. And, you know, they know, so I better listen to what they say. No, sometimes I'll disagree with stuff. Right? Whatever they're saying. I don't know. I'm just trying to look here to see, you know, the Fed will likely adjust its balance sheet. Well, I may not agree with that, and that's okay. The point is, it's nice to see what other people are thinking, and then you can make your own educated decision, right? But you can't do that unless you've got a whole broad range of things, right? So that's quite good. Read this week's commentary, which is there as well. That's really, really good. So do you see, just in general, I like this page. I don't know, did I put it down? No, I didn't. So we can put this down just generally, Wells Fargo. And hopefully you're seeing the point here. Just because you put a link from an institution, don't mean you have to just look at that link. Did you see how I just navigated the website? Go and have a look. See if you can find anything on their website that might be useful. Alright, so I know I'm blocking some of this, but that's alright. So you've got loads of stuff here. I do look at a few more things, so we'll keep going until at least I've shown you everything I'm looking at this moment in time. I'm just trying to see if there's anything. FactSet is fantastic. Really like that. Very, very good. Very important for earnings, because we're not going to cover earnings. I don't do any analysis on earnings because obviously you've got so many companies, 500. It's not worth my time. You know, you've obviously got to balance a lot of this stuff in terms of your time, right? If it takes you 5 days to do a piece of research, it's not worth it because you're going to lose that time trading and looking at other stuff. It's cost benefit, right? The cost of my time doesn't give me the benefit from earnings. That don't mean I ignore earnings, but I look at other people's earnings analysis and then put it all together. But FactSet is fantastic for earnings, so I do like to look at their stuff because I feel they do a very good job, and then I will make my own opinion on it. I'm not always going to agree with them, but in what I mean is they're kind of doing the dashboard for me. Okay, so earnings season update, right? They are actually doing the dashboard. Can you see? They're doing the dashboard. I haven't got time to, and even if I wanted to, it would take me hours, if not days, to come up with this type of information. Do you see this? Earnings growth and in the recent quarter and all of this type of stuff. They're fantastic. That is basically what they're doing. They're giving me the dashboard for earnings. So that's what I use because it's too complex. It's not complex, but there's just so much data because it's 500 companies. I'd have to go get 500 company earnings and then split them out and do all. It's just not worth my time. So hopefully you can see that. For the earnings, I love them. Really, really good. So yeah, FactSet is there. IHS market is good, but don't necessarily look at their stuff for no other particular reason than I just don't want to have too much going on. Citi, look at that. Right. It's unbelievable, right? For free, Goldman's, Merrill, JP Morgan, Citi. Right, it's just crazy, right? And I'm going to repeat this again. Obviously, be discreet about this, right? We want this stuff to stay up. Okay, so I think you've pretty much got everything you need now, right? You can see a fantastic analysis in terms of whatever they're looking at. So, and actually, you know what? It's really good. I don't know if you noticed this, right? So, remember, this is not written by a trader, okay? This is written by someone in the research department. All right, research. And like I said, this is trading. This was sales. Okay, and this was the outside customers. So hedge funds and central banks and etc. etc. Right, that's the outside. This is a trading floor. Okay, I don't know if you notice one thing. All right, can you see this person's got some moving average, some stochastic, some RSI stuff going on, and blah blah blah. Okay, before you get too excited and think, hey, Envy saying they don't look at all these technicals in a bank, they don't. All right. And in fact, and I'm happy to even, you know, and in the end of the day, I'm even pointing it out to you. So obviously I wouldn't do that unless what I've been saying is true, that they don't. What it is, okay, and you remember I told you in section 1 that when people from research used to walk over to the trader's desk and they used to get told in no uncertain terms, and I'm not going to swear, but the F word was used, do one, right? There's a reason for that. Because traders don't use all of this nonsense, okay? In Citi or in investment banks, they're not using any of this rubbish, okay? It's the research department, all right? And in research department, they actually have a technical analyst, okay, who will be looking at technical analysis. They have, and his role is actually technical analysis, and he'll do research, okay? He sits in research. I never really understood why they have them, because having been on both of these desks, never ever saw a trader using any of this. And it's one of the reasons why when research used to come over, people on trading used to get annoyed, like just, and I hate to say it because I don't want to sound disrespectful to people who are doing their job. It's like, look, just go away. You don't understand trading. Do you see what I mean? Traders understand trading. These guys are just doing research and strategy. So you've got to be a little bit careful about some of the stuff, especially in terms of the analysis. You're going to laugh when you see some of it, but I want you to be careful, and I don't want you to think, oh my God, I need to start looking at all this stuff that I've completely ignored. It's not. In fact, it's the complete opposite, okay? Even reiterates my point that all of this stuff is junk, okay? Because when I worked on a trading desk, and I know people at Citi, I know people at Goldman's, obviously Barclays I actually worked at, I can assure you, this stuff got put in the dustbin, okay? It was annoying to an extent. I have a different opinion on it. I think that it is what it is, all right? If you're working in research, yeah, you're good at doing economic analysis, stuff like this, right? Strategy and S&P and yields, but you don't trade, okay? This department, do you remember I told you? It's completely ring-fenced department from sales and trading and clients. They don't trade. They have no idea what traders actually do, because traders don't do this. You see, they don't do any of the stuff you see in research reports. We don't necessarily do any of this research analysis, right? Might have a dashboard and obviously do a little bit of the reading, but we don't actually go out there and produce all these graphs. And do you remember what I said? I ain't got time for that. I'm busy trading. Problem is, these people are spending so much time doing this stuff, this research department. They don't really understand. They don't see customer flow. They don't see order flow. They don't know. They don't, because they're not here day in, day out. So they're just putting any old nonsense together when it comes to the charts. Okay, so be a little bit careful about that. It's very important. I wanted to mention that because some of you may have just noticed that they've got all this junk going on over here. All right, no one, I can assure you, looks at this this type of analysis. No one. I never saw it. In fact, it was funny for us as traders to be seeing this. Just like, do one, right? Do one, as in it. That's what I heard being said a lot. All right, so I just want to reiterate that point. It's really important to make. Be careful with some of the chart analysis that you see, because it's not done by traders. All right, I'm going to keep saying that. It is important. It's not done by traders. It's done by economists, okay? And when it comes to trading, economists are almost like retail traders, right? They don't know how institutional trading works because they don't work on a trading desk, all right? So just bear that in mind. ING, I think we already looked at. It's quite good. Mention that. I think that's good enough for us in terms of this. Gone down 7 pages. The next one I wanted to look at, the slight variation of this, where I've just put in speech marks, and you can do this. Do you see how I've put market outlook in speech marks? All of these things, I want you to try your own different searches. So it could be, you know, if you're in FX, you can look for FX. You don't have to copy me. If it's US and you want to look at UK, you want to look at Europe, try Europe. And then put speech marks around things, you know, and it will return that exact match, market outlook. Do your own ones, right? Come on, you don't have to copy me on all of them. Do your own ones. These ones we've already got. Let's have a look if there's any else that come up. What you can also do is also past month. Past month's quite good as well. So you can look at that. These are quite good, Lazard and some big institutional analysis here. Can have a look, right? I don't, like I said, I don't want to overdo it. BNP Paribas, so I think that might be India. Not sure. Yeah, Bank Nifty, yeah, this is India. So I'm not going to look at that one. Just seeing if there's any other useful ones. Probably there are. Like I said, just go through them. HSBC, Wealth Insights, yeah. I don't think there is anything here. We'll keep going. So see, like I said, go down a few pages. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, so I like this search as well. This is quite a good search that I found. Weekly Traders Outlook. Do you see they all pop up? Loads of them that we've been looking at. So they're all there. We've already got most of these anyway. Barclays one, I told you I don't like that one. Schwab we've got. Citibank. Right, we've got that. Oh, this is a slightly different one. So there's that FX snapshot. If you're into FX, use that one. I'm not going to make a note of that, but there is that one. This one, not sure about this one. I think this one's all right. Okay, so there's this one. Sometimes I look at as well. It's quite good. Naveen. It's like might be a money manager. I'm not sure actually. I think I've been looking at them recently. I thought they were quite good. Do you see, it doesn't have to be some of the best research that I look at here. Do you see? T. Rowe, Edward Jones, Raymond. Then they don't have to be the big names. Some of the analysis from some of these smaller institutions or money management firms is better than the stuff I see from investment banks. Okay, so don't just look for the big names. Look for, or you might find a hidden gem somewhere. Okay. Think. I mean, there's so many here. Okay, there's so many. Like I said, I'm just trying to give you a good idea of how this all works, how I find my stuff. So I think we exhausted that from the previous look. Okay, so there's so many here. Look, weekly market commentary, and I'm not gonna go through all of them. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but yeah, you can see. A lot of these are good. Yeah, we've exhausted so many of them. I do like to look a little bit at economic research. I mentioned to you that's purely economic research. So for that, US economic research. Okay. Where's it gone? There is a really good one I look at a lot at the moment anyway. Not really sure if I'll be able to find it. Where's it gone? I can't see it come up here. So what I say, they change all the time. Obviously when you're doing searches, it's just the nature of the game, right? It's the nature of search. You're going to get different stuff sometimes. Okay, weekly market update. JP, BlackRock. Oh, there's so many of them. We've got all of these, right? The main ones, they're all there. Okay. Reuters, RBC. I think I do look at this one. Yeah, I like this one. This is a really good one that I do look at. Okay, that's a good one. RBC. Capital markets, really good. I like their weeklies. So that's them. You can see equity drivers are fantastic. Positive, negative, summary. Really like this one. It's quite good. It's Morgan Stanley. We already looked at that one, didn't we? Yeah, we don't really like. It's a bit short. I didn't like the audio. I think of that. Some weekly market commentary. There's so many. You're sport for choice. And it's ridiculous, isn't it? How many there are. It's just incredible. How much you can get out there. I think that it's a shame that there was another one that I look at that hasn't come up. Giving you all the main ones. Yep, they're all there. There is one, okay, that I look at, and I don't know why it hasn't come up. It should have come up. Scotia. Don't know why it hasn't come up, but it normally does. I really like this for deep economic research. So I'm just going to give it to you. Like I said, there's going to be... So that's what I'm pretty much looking at in terms of the search at the moment. Obviously, I looked at loads in the past. There's tons here, right? What are we talking? 3, 6, and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, about 22. There are... I told you it's about 30, right? I look at 30, 40. So there's some that haven't come up in the search that may have come up. I can't remember. I've done so... Because what I do is I might change some of these. I might put some of them in... do stuff like that. And do you know what I mean? There's so many different searches. I'll just do little tweaks. Might do it without the weekly. I might search for a month. And I think that's... You see, if you search for a month, you get slightly different stuff. And I just do little tweaks. So obviously, I'm sure you appreciate over the last 6 months. I can't remember exactly combinations, but hopefully it's giving you a really good idea. And in fact, it has, right? Let's be honest. This is worth 10 times what you paid, because you can imagine how expensive it would be for you to go and get this stuff from a research firm. A lot of these research firms charge, right, for this type of information. You got it for free, so hopefully you feel satisfied that you've got 10 times your investment. Not only obviously with the stuff I've been teaching you, but even with this, right? Hopefully you can see it's fantastic, and it's free. It's unbelievable. My point is that the reason I'm saying all of that is because I'm even going to go one step further. Some stuff which I'm not able to find in search, but I'm looking at the present moment, I'm going to give it to you as a bonus, because I don't seem to be able to find it. So the Scotia thing is big. Okay, I do look at that. I really like their economic analysis. Okay, daily points is fantastic. It's this economic publications. I don't know why it hasn't come up, but it's really good. Okay, I really like this stuff. You might see me talk a little bit about their stuff. Scotia. I don't always agree with it, but I read it because it's quite in depth. Remember I said to you I don't always like to look at strategy. I do like to look sometimes at deep per economic analysis. So something like the daily points are quite good. I'll go back to the day, but do you see it's got goes into quite there probably wasn't that much data on that day. Let's see if we can find another daily points. Yeah, there we go. FOMC minutes. Do you see they go into so much detail? FOMC minutes went into so much detail here. Things are being broken down, and there's a lot of good stuff here. But it's purely, I find this is more from an economics point of view. Okay, global week ahead. See, very, very deep and detailed economics. Okay, bit more global this one. But yeah, check this one out. When things like payrolls are released, I like to come here. Obviously, this might not be available at the time you search for this. Then obviously, it is what it is. It isn't available, but not seen this before actually. Economic indicators. Yeah, there you go. The Fed. You know, it's really good. They got some really, really good analysis. I found. All the reasons to ignore. So we just had retail sales being released this week. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to be opening. There you go. So it just loaded up. Took a few seconds. Sorry about that. This is what I'm talking about. Can you see? If I want to look at retail sales, look at the detail they've gone into. All the details, analysis of everything. It's just incredible, right? In terms of retail sales. One data point. Sometimes I like this because I want to actually drill into the number. And I don't want to just... A lot of the outlooks, what they'll do is they'll just glance over it and then they'll talk about, you know, where they think the markets are going to go. I want to actually look into the detail of the report. You see this? Incredible. This is what I like about this. So Scotia is really, really good. Hopefully they keep giving access like this. Obviously, I don't know if that's always going to be the case, but so take it with a pinch of salt. Obviously, I'm just doing you a favor telling you this. You know, don't scream at me if they don't show it anymore. There'll be someone else, right? Obviously, it's up to them. It's free, right? We can't complain if it suddenly stops. There is one other one I'd like to look at in terms of economics. Okay, it's so what I've done is you'll see, okay, that some of these I do find on Twitter in the past. When I've looked at Twitter, I found some good ones. And they actually have websites. I don't look at it that much, Twitter, but I'll show you. Let's get up Twitter. Okay, so we'll go to Twitter. And then let's search. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to bother doing, I mean, there is one particular search, SPX, right? That's because I look at the S&P, but obviously search what you want to search for. This guy's good, Callum Thomas. I think he's got some good charts. Do you see he's got a link? Let me read it first. Do you see? Weekly. So this is quite good. Just copy it. You can label it as, I don't know, other or whatever. Bold that, make it. Hopefully I'm not covering this, am I? Nope. Right, so you've got other there. Right, so you can put Callum Thomas if you want. You can put him down. He's quite good on Twitter. There's another guy. I do actually like that guy. There's another guy. SPX is good. Go and see if there's any stuff you can find. They normally have a load of junk, but also some good gems in there. Just over the years of looking, I tell you, there's only a few that I really like, and there is that guy. There's also who's the other one? Ryan. See if he's there. Dentrick. Okay, this guy's very, very good. Excellent. So again, I don't know if he'll be active when you actually search, but I also like they got some brilliant deep economics. Okay, so this is free, like very high level. Okay, institutional level, very, very high level. LPL. Can you see I got a really nice group of economics, just pure economics now. So even they will go into detail about things like inflation, and see, he'll talk a lot about inflation and not really talk about the direction of markets, but talk more about the data. And I like to look at that sometimes because I don't want to be distracted by people trying to tell me which way they think the S&P is going to go. No, I'm okay with that. Obviously, it's nice to sometimes see, but do you remember what I told you about the city report? I don't want to know what these economists and strategy people think about with the direction of the market. You've seen they're using a lot of the same junk as retail people do, right? But what they're very, very good at is fundamental analysis. Okay, so that is the bit I want to look at. So they've got that. Just realising it's now. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. It's been going on for a while. So might actually split this out into two. Again, this section. But for now, I'll worry about that later. But that is fantastic. Okay, Ryan Dentrick. And there is one other guy. I made a note of him. Yeah, Charlie. Okay, this guy's very good as well. This guy, Charlie Belay. He's very popular. Okay, those are really the only 3 people I look at from Twitter. I don't really look at anyone else. Again, he's got this newsletter with a fantastic blog. Okay, 7 charts Sunday, and he's got some really good charts. See on inflation and stuff, and seasonals, and this is where I get a lot of my seasonals from. You guys have heard me talk about seasonals. You know, I haven't got time to put seasonals together. Okay, obviously I'm relying on other people's seasonals. So he will have, also I stick him under economics. This is where I get a lot of the seasonals from. Some people have been asking me, MV, can you tell us where you get seasonals? This is where I get them from. Okay, so you come to here, Compound, LPL. These are the 2 guys and their Twitters. So don't forget, this guy Ryan Dentrick is one of the senior economists at LPL, and then Charlie Belay, I don't know, say his name, he's at Compound. Really, really good stuff. They do show a lot of seasonals. Okay, that's where I'm getting seasonals from. And then earnings I'll get from bits and bobs from here and there as well. I think we're almost done. There is just a couple of others that I'm just going to give you as a favour, because I don't think they don't seem to be popping up. But I do look at them. So one is just a couple more. Advisor perspectives. Okay, this is one. Articles that you actually see something really familiar. I do like this lady's summary. Don't know how I'll find it. This is very, very good. Okay, advisor perspective. Very, very good. So put that down there. Don't know where it is. It's somewhere in here. S&P 500. You got some brilliant analysis. Look at this, all free. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Some great analysis. I don't know where it is on the website, but I do look at it. It's the snapshot. You will have seen this here. Snapshot section. Okay, let's have a look. There you go. This you can look at. Do you see this? You might see me. I don't actually use this. Alright, I do my own one, which I'll show you there. So you can see here. Do you see? I've got my own one, but I did get the idea from here. But I've got my own one. I like to change it a little bit. I like to have the data below. And do you see? I've got my own one, and I actually calculate all the percentages myself. I don't really like to just take the percentages, as gospel. So I do have my own one. And I don't actually use this chart. You see it says stockcharts.com. That's the only thing I pay for, is stockcharts.com. I think it's like $5 or $10 a month. Don't bother, you don't need it. I only get it because it allows me to get this same chart, and I like to amend it for my institutional Sundays. And I can also do that correlation chart that I look at on institutional Sundays, which I might talk a little bit about in the correlation section. I will put a little correlation section together after this, but don't pay for it. You don't need it. Okay, I only do it for my institutional Sundays because I don't like this chart. I like it to have the data underneath, and I like to just do my colors a little bit differently. Can you see? I change it a little bit, and I've got like my own calculations I've got going on here, year to date, week to date, and then I can just put whatever I want. And same for if you scroll down, do you see this? Might have seen me talk about this as well, perspective on drawdowns. This is fantastic. Make a note of this if you want. Even this, I do calculate my own. So let's have a look. Drawdown here. Can you see? I've got my own little... I do like the formatting of this one, but look, can you see? That drawdown there. 19.78, 19 points. Actually, I'm not blocking it, yeah? Go back up. Can you see I've got my own drawdown chart? I actually do my own calculations. I like to just make sure this is accurate. Can you see that? It's come down to 10%, come down to 10% there, there. It's all the same. It's identical, yeah? Hopefully you can see that. It's identical. I just calculate them myself, okay? I like to calculate my own drawdowns. You know, I'm quite paranoid about some of these things. All right, so I do like to calculate them myself, but if you want, you know, obviously you don't want to do all that stuff, then it is available there. You see, again, this lady's an economist and she's got all these moving averages and stuff. That's obviously all nonsense, right? But moving averages and this and that. But what they are good at, a lot of these economists, is obviously looking at research, right? They're good at what they're good at, okay? There's one other one I do like, and that's briefing.com. Just for kind of daily stuff, I do like the big picture, page one, right? So that's another one you might want to just look at. I do like them a lot, and it's free. And that's it. Let me just, I think there was one more Google search. Weekly market performance. I can't remember if we actually looked at that. Weekly market performance. Is there any others here? I think a lot of them are there now. I think that's plenty. I think you'll agree. Alright, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Yeah, you got loads, ladies and gentlemen. Just do not pay for this stuff, right? This is, what you've got here is probably better access or equal to what institutional traders will have at firms, because they're getting stuff from all over the place sent to them, and you've pretty much got that now here. You know, how many have we got here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just counting them very quickly, probably not very well. About 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 30. About 32, 33 links. Right, and you can have more than that if you want. That's everything. So hopefully you feel that was really, really good value for you, and you have actually saved yourself 10 times the price of this course on research alone. All right, obviously knock yourselves out. All right, you don't have to look at the same stuff as me. I've just given you this because I wanted to make sure people don't feel that I'm looking at something and not showing you. I wanted to make sure that I also put myself in your shoes and I show you exactly what I'm finding, and as a example. Okay, I don't want you to feel you have to look at the same stuff as me, but at the same time I want you to feel that you know exactly what I am looking at. My point is, do your own research as well. Look at your own stuff. Change these titles. Change, you know, advanced, and I forgot to do that here, didn't I? You know, anytime, make sure you change it up a bit. Past hour, past week, all of that stuff, right? Do all sorts of different searches. If you find anything interesting, please let me know. Hey, Envy, I've done the search and I found this stuff. I don't know, you might find this interesting. I probably will. If you find some really, you know, top institutional research that I haven't found, then look at it. I probably don't need to keep going on about it. I think hopefully it just speaks for itself. It's just an incredible list of research, 100% free. So yeah, hopefully that has met your expectations. Hopefully, I'm sure it has. And I'll see you in the next section. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, you might be wondering what on earth is going on. Envy's just managed to change the color of his top, and in world record time, right? It should be in the Guinness Book of Records for how quickly you change your top. It's not that. It's actually a few days later. What it is, I like to do quality control on everything that I'm giving you. actually should give you incredible confidence that the information you're receiving is brilliant. I always watch everything back, just to make sure I haven't missed anything. I want to, you can probably tell how genuine I am when I tell you I want you to have the very best. Okay, so I watch everything back 99.9 times out of 100. Everything's fine. When I was just going through the links, I just noticed there was one actually that I forgot about. It cropped up. This Raymond James, I mentioned that I do like them. Because I assumed that all the links were there. There is this other one, so weekly market update PDF. There is this other one I like to look at, this weekly market guide. Okay, so this is quite a good one. It's got stuff like earnings in it. It's really good for earnings, and as I said before, I don't look at earnings separately. I don't do my own dashboard and stuff. It's 500 companies. I do find them pretty good, that weekly outlook for earnings, along with others. Now, again, it might not be there. When you go to do your search, you might be searching in 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 years after I've actually built this, in which case it may not be there. But it's just the way I am. I like things to be perfect, right? And because I really do care about everyone that's watching this, and don't get your tissues out and start crying, all right? But it's true. And if I even miss the smallest thing, I just won't be able to sleep, right? So I just noticed it because I took a break and then I did the quality control. So I always do this when I record something. I then take a break for like a day or 2, 3 days, because even I can't stand to hear myself for that long. And then I come back and I watch it all, make sure it's perfect. And like I said, I just spotted. I went through all the links just to make sure that everything was there that I'm currently looking at, and that particular one was missing. Did we look at this one, Merrill Lynch? Yeah, we've got that one, haven't we? We've got Merrill Lynch, we've got all of these. T. Rowe Price, JH Investments, Edward Jones, BlackRock, JP Morgan. We've got them all, haven't we? There's no others. Moody's. Obviously this could be different when you come to look at it, but I feel much better now that's in. So hopefully you find, again, I've said it before anyway, but hopefully you find all of these really useful. There's a lot here. But just to reiterate the point, obviously, if none of these pop up, because you might be doing this in 1 or 2 years and all these links are dead, and you will have other links, right? You'll have another 30 or 40. That'll be just as good as this. Obviously, it might be under different links. It might be a different institution, but it'll be just as good as this. Obviously, this is what's there right now. When I used to do these type of searches a few years ago, it's completely different stuff. This is what's there right now. So hopefully you find that useful. I'll see you on the other side.